Have you ever opened up Shudder, spent 20 minutes scrolling, added 3 movies to your watch list, and somehow you ended up watching none of them? Yeah, I know, me too. So every month I do the scrolling for you. These are the movies that are actually worth watching on Shudder right now. And stick around until the end because my favorite recommendation this month isn't the biggest title on the list. It was the one that completely surprised me. If you're celebrating Summerween like I am, let's find your next horror movie. Hello there, ghouls and gals. I am Kayla here at Cafe Crashdown, aka the Crash Hub, your cozy corner of horror, sci-fi, and all things wonderfully weird, okay? We're right in the middle of summer, which means normal people are planning beach trips, and us horror fans, we're asking one very important question. What are we watching tonight? That's why I absolutely love Summerween. It's Halloween's sweaty little cousin. It's too hot to function outside, so we stay inside with slashers, aliens, witches, and enough bad decisions to fill an entire campground. This month's lineup has a little bit of everything. We've got witches, a vacation from hell, alien invasions, because hello, you know, we got World UFO Day, a classic summer camp slasher, and one movie that starts like a familiar campfire story before becoming something much stranger. And yes, I am wearing my Focus Features hat because we also got the trailer drop for Werewolf this past week, which was super great from Robert Eggers. So yeah, I mean, all of us horror people, Christmas, I know where we're gonna be and we're gonna be super stoked. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But enough of that, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with one movie that I was most curious about for this month. We have Forbidden Fruits, which follows Apple, an employee at Free Eden, who secretly leads a witch cult alongside her coworkers Cherry and Vic. When a new employee named Pumpkin starts questioning their strange sisterhood, everything begins to unravel. Yeah, first of all, can we appreciate those names? Apple, Cherry, Fig, Pumpkin. I don't know what kind of orientation they give these new employees at Free Eden, but I'm guessing HR has seen some things. This is your I want something weird, stylish, and a little unhinged pick. One of my favorite things about horror is when a movie fully commits to its own, weird, strange world. Not everything has to be explained in the first 10 minutes. It's, you know, sometimes it's fun to just slowly build and slowly realize, oh, everybody here is absolutely out of their minds. But underneath all the occult imagery and supernatural chaos, this looks like it's asking bigger questions about identity, belonging, and what happens when the desire to fit in starts costing you pieces of yourself. And honestly, that's the kind of horror that sticks with me. It's not just the violence, the psychology behind it. So what does this film feel like? Imagine The Craft wandered into an A24 movie and accidentally joined a cult. You definitely want to watch this if you love witch horror, cult stories, stylish supernatural films, and slow-burning psychological horror. Now, if witch cults aren't your thing, don't worry, because our next movie proves one thing horror has taught us for decades. Never rent the nice vacation house. Ever. Next up, we have Trespassers, which follows 2 couples who rent a beautiful desert home for a weekend getaway full of partying, drinking, and escaping reality. And for about 15 minutes, everything looks freaking fantastic. Then, all of a sudden, surprise, surprise, it doesn't. This is your vacation horror pick. I love movies that take you somewhere beautiful and then slowly strip away every bit of that comfort. The desert starts feeling endless. The silence becomes unsettling. The house that felt luxurious suddenly feels like a trap. And that's one of my favorite kind of suspenses because it feels believable. We've all looked at incredible Airbnb listings and thought, you know, that looks amazing. I want to stay there. Horror movies just ask, what if someone else booked it first? There's something especially unsettling about survival horror where the setting itself becomes part of the threat. You're isolated. Help is nowhere nearby. Every decision feels heavier, and every bad choice snowballs into an even worse one. So what does this film feel like? It's like your dream vacation slowly transforming into a nightmare while the sun refuses to go down. So definitely watch this if you love home invasion thrillers, desert horror, tense survival stories, and movies that keep escalating. Okay, we've done witches, we've done terrible vacation planning. Let's have some fun, because Summerween isn't complete without at least one movie that reminds you why you loved renting horror movies as a kid. The parents leave town. Teenagers throw a massive party. Aliens invade. Honestly, that's a pretty efficient setup. This is your Friday night pizza movie pick. Not every horror movie has to have this like emotionally devastating thing happening, right? And you don't have to be devastated yourself. Sometimes you just want creatures, practical effects, ridiculous action, and a movie that remembers horror can also be incredibly fun. And this one has that wonderful 80s and 90s energy where kids are forced to deal with the impossible situations because the adults are either gone or they're completely useless. It reminds me why I fell in love with creature features in the first place. They're exciting, they're funny, they're imaginative, and sometimes they're exactly what Summerween needs. So what does this pick feel like? It feels like the Monster Squad crashed into a backyard party and invited aliens. So definitely watch this if you love Stranger Things, Attack the Block, creature features, and especially practical effects. Now let's trade aliens for one of Summerween's greatest traditions, summer camp. Because if horror movies have taught us anything, camp is never about making friendship bracelets. Angela is back. She's working as a counselor, she's smiling, and somehow that makes her even more scarier. This is your classic slasher comfort movie pick. The Sleepaway Camp sequel knows exactly what they are. They're funny, ridiculous, bloody, completely self-aware. Angela isn't another slasher villain. She spends half of the movie silently judging everyone's terrible behavior before reminding them why following camp rules is actually pretty important. I've always had a soft spot for camp slashers. Maybe it's because they perfectly capture Summerween, but there's something nostalgic about cabins, campfires, lakes, and absolutely terrible life choices. So this pick feels like, summer camp. If you're a counselor secretly hated by everyone. So watch this if you love Friday the 13th, camp slashers, horror comedies, cult classics, you name it. All right, remember earlier when I said my favorite recommendation wasn't the biggest movie this month? This is the one. Marshmallow starts with something every horror fan recognizes, a campfire story, a legend. Something that's supposed to scare kids before bedtime. Except this time, the story turns out to be real. And that's only the beginning. This is your going in knowing as little as possible pick. I'm intentionally keeping this one vague because discovery is part of what makes it work. What surprised me the most wasn't just where the story goes. It was how ambitious it becomes. It starts like familiar campfire horror, then quietly becomes something much bigger. The kind of movie that has you thinking about it after the credits roll. Those are the movies I always end up recommending the most. Not because they're loud, but because they stay with you. This film feels like someone took the ghost stories you told around the campfire as a kid and made one terrifyingly real. So definitely watch this if you love campfire horror, mystery, psychological twists, going into the movies blind, and summer. Right? And before we wrap things up, I always like leaving you with one extra recommendation. Not because it's new to Shudder, but just because I think every horror fan should watch it. And since we're deep into Summerween, my late night pick is The Burning from 1981. If you're putting together the perfect summer horror double feature, this belongs on the list. You've got campfires, you've got forests, the unforgettable slasher, and one of the best examples of why summer camp and horror go hand in hand for decades. If you've never seen it, well, fix that problem. So that is what's worth watching on Shudder this month. Whether you're in the mood for witches, vacation horror, aliens, classic camp slashers, or something that quietly sneaks up on you, July has a surprisingly fun lineup. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these are you watching first? And here's this month's question. What's your favorite Summerween movie? Not your favorite Halloween movie, your favorite movie that just feels like summer horror. Leave your recommendations below because I am always looking for something new to add to my watch list. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me today, I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a like. It helps more horror fans find my channel. And if you're new here, subscribe and ring that bell because every month I'll do the scrolling for you so you don't have to. Until next time, keep your lights low, keep the popcorn close, and I'll see you right back here at Cafe Crashdown.